Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a film from 1999, and it's the one that put the name M. Night Shyamalan on the map, and that is The Sixth Sense. Haley Joel Osment, as well as Bruce Willis and Toni Collette, as well in this film. Great cast of actors and actresses in this film. Very well acted film. Now, I saw this back in the theater when this film first came out. And again, just like a lot of people who saw this film did not know what the ending held for them, what was going to happen. Now looking back, because this is probably like only the third time now that I've watched the film since it originally came out, you can start to pick up things that are going to happen. Now, guys, there's going to be spoilers. There's absolutely no way around it to get to the end of this film. If you haven't seen it, you want to be surprised, you're going to have to go check out the film because I'm going to have to do some spoilers in this one. So just be forewarned. But there are definitely things in the film throughout, now that I notice more than I noticed back then, that I start to think like, okay, you can kind of see. Now, obviously, it's easy to think about when you know how the film does end. It's a little bit easier to pick up on those things and be like, why didn't I notice this or pick up on this back then when I saw the film? The film picks up with Bruce Willis and his wife. Now, Willis is a child psychologist. He has just been given an award. He is at home with his wife. They are celebrating, and they go upstairs to their bedroom, and they notice the window is broken. And Bruce Willis goes to look in his bathroom, and there's a gentleman there, just in his underwear. He's just staying there in his underwear, very upset, yelling at Willis, saying that he failed him. That don't you remember who I am when you tried to help me when I was younger, but you failed me. And he shoots Bruce Willis. And Bruce Willis just falls back onto his bed. His wife runs to his side, crying. And that's kind of like, the gentleman who shot him turns the gun on himself. Now, we pick up a while later. It doesn't really say it's a year later, but it does say like that fall, like the fall. Now it is the fall season. And we don't know exactly. We see Bruce Willis again, but we don't know. He's looking at this house across the street, and out of this house comes Haley Joel Osment, and we don't know his name is Cole in the film. We don't the Haley Joel Osment. His character name is Cole. We don't we don't know yet what has as far as we as the viewers come to think. We're thinking Bruce Willis now has survived that gunshot, that wound. Now, throughout the film, you start to see Cole has definitely. Bruce Willis is trying to help him. He's kind of like he's trying to help Cole try to figure out what is wrong. Why is this child? And Haley Joel Osment does a great job. The fear that this child actor shows in this film at the time is he ahead of his time as far as like child actors go. He is fantastic, absolutely fantastic, and he's trying to help Cole figure out, what is wrong, what's going on with this child. Of course, we come to find that Cole, in the famous line, he looks at Bruce Willis and he says, "I see dead people," and that is what is kind of like bothering Cole and keeping him from being, just your normal average child. He has this thing going on that obviously who's going to believe him? It's going to be very tough for this child to convince him by, hey, I see, you know, victims. I see people who have died and they need help these people, as far as he's concerned and he sees them, he's scared. I mean, these are people who have been either burned or who have been shot or anything else that has happened to them horrifically, and he's just terrified. And throughout the film, again, we start to see Bruce Willis. We see him, as far as we know as the viewer, trying to interact with his wife, but we feel that there's something between, like something has happened, and or maybe he's just kind of like cut her off after the incident, and there's something between us. There's a wall between them, and she's kind of just being very cold to him. So she's not. There's no interaction. He's trying to talk to her, but she's not interacting back with him. Now, we also have Toni Collette. Now, Toni Collette plays Haley Joel Osment, Cole's mother. She is fantastic. This is the first film that I ever saw her in, and she obviously she's just gone into phenomenal acting, phenomenal roles throughout her career. And this one, she's very, very solid, even at this point in her career, trying to. It's not that she doesn't believe Cole, she wants to understand what is going on with her child. She's a single mom. The father's not in the picture. He's left or divorced. And she's trying to help her son. What is going on? He's having problems in school. He's having problems, with the other kids that are in school because they look at him in a very, he's a little bit different. So she, and it's very upsetting. It's very upsetting to her. But I love the two that their interaction between the two of them, between mother and son, is played very, very well between the two. That Haley Joe and Toni Collette. Now, Bruce Willis, obviously, when he's in his interaction, and even the parts where you see Willis with Toni Collette's character, you kind of think, okay, she's hired him to come in and talk to her son. And it's played very, very well. I mean, it's directed very well by Shyamalan. Now, knowing how the film ends, you can go through and you can kind of start to pick apart little things and be like, why didn't I notice that? That could have been a little, but still, even then, even knowing, it's still hard. I mean, even though you know what's going to happen, it's easy to go in there and be like, oh, I should have noticed that, and kind of nitpick and say, he could have done this differently, or directed this a little bit differently. The dialogue could have been, but I think it's easy to say that now, knowing how it ends. But back then, wow, the ending was freaking incredible, and it's one of those films that like you left the theater with like, your mouth just hanging wide open, like what just happened? And as we go along, we find out, Bruce Willis he's back, he's listening to a tape recorder, and he's listening back at the gentleman who shot him when he was a child and he was taking care of him. And he put the volume up all the way to the max, and he is able to hear another voice talking, with this child as well, talking to him. And he puts two and two together. Because Haley Joel Osment tells him that he does see dead people. And Bruce Willis, he's the adult. He's not going to believe what this child is saying. Obviously, he's going to think, there's an affliction going on, and he's not, this is not what's really happening. But now he does believe Haley Joel, and he comes to him and says, you know what? I think I can help you. I do believe I can help you. I believe what you're saying. I believe I can help you. And I think what you need to do is talk to these ghosts. Let these ghosts, talk to them. Let them in. Don't be afraid of them. I know it's hard, but don't be afraid of them. And see what, help them cross over. They're coming to a conclusion in a way that Haley Joel Osment's Cole can help these people, these victims, basically move on to the afterlife. And throughout that, of course, we get to the ending. And guys, I don't really want to spoil the ending, but I'm going to. With this particular film, I'm going to. So if you're still here now and you haven't, go watch the movie. It is on HBO Max if you want to go check it out. I believe it's on Disney Plus as well. But when we get to the very end of the film, we do realize that Bruce Willis is a ghost. He did not survive the gunshot. Unfortunately, he did not survive the gunshot. And basically, Haley Joel Osment, he was there to help all along, help Bruce Willis kind of cross over. They were kind of like helping each other in a way. So at the very end, when you see Bruce Willis, Haley Joe, tells him, you need to go talk, talk to your wife. Haley Joel Osment, he doesn't realize that Bruce Willis is a ghost. Doesn't the entire time, doesn't realize it. Bruce Willis, though, when he does eventually go and talk to his wife, kind of like when she's sleeping, he's talking to her, and he realizes that he too, did not survive, and he's a ghost. But the interaction between when his wife's sleeping and he's talking to her, and she's kind of like in her sleep, saying things to him as well. It's an emotional scene. It's probably one of the most emotional scenes I've seen Bruce Willis have in a film. It's very it's a sad ending to, not so much to the, I mean, yes, he doesn't survive, but there's closure in a way, but still it's still an emotional scene, that last kind of like goodbye from him to his wife, saying it's okay, you can kind of, tomorrow's another day, you need to go, kind of like move on with move on with your life. And it's a touching and emotional scene at the end of this film. Like I said, a film that's well acted, and it looks really good too. It definitely still has that later '90s look. I mean, obviously from '99 has that later '90s look and feel, but I still think it's a well crafted movie that after you see it a few times, it's easy. You can probably go back and you can nitpick it. But I think at the time, if you had never seen this film before and didn't know what was going to happen, I think Shyamalan did a great job being able to kind of keep you guessing. Like I said, now you can see it, and you can know what's going to happen. You can kind of put it together. But back then in '99, like this kind of twist little ending was kind of like unheard of. It really was for a film like this, and to really have a great child actor playing off of Bruce Willis's incredible performance in this film was amazing. And Toni Collette, just again outstanding. Everybody just outstanding in this film. So yeah, guys, The Sixth Sense. It's definitely it holds up. It holds up. I would definitely suggest though. I think it's one of those films that you don't want to watch like all the time. Watch it. Let it marinate. Give it even a few years. Go back, watch it again. It's not one of those films you're gonna want to like go back and watch. Every 6 months, every year. I don't think it's that kind of film. But I think it's definitely a film you can visit every few years, ever so often. And I think I still think it's pretty enjoyable. It's still pretty enjoyable, and the ending was definitely a little bit more emotional. You definitely feel a little more emotional, and I felt it a little bit more this time watching it again. So yeah, definitely a thumbs up for The Sixth Sense. Definitely a classic, and to me, probably the best M Night Shyamalan film that he's ever put out. And that's saying something. I still like some of his films. I know they're not for everybody, but there are a lot of his films I do enjoy. But I think this one still is at the top of the list. So guys, let's go ahead and see what our next film is. We're getting into the final week now of our horror movie scratch off month. Crazy, absolutely crazy. And one more time, Haley Joel Osment. That's when he's looking at Bruce Willis saying, "I see dead people." So The Sixth Sense. Let's go ahead and see what the next film is going to be. The pile is getting small. And let's see. We're going to go ahead and pick out this one right here and see what we have. We have a 1960 slasher, 109 minutes crime. So let's go ahead and scratch this one off. I'm thinking, let's see, 1960. That could have been around the time of Psycho. Might have been around Psycho time. So let's see. Maybe it's Psycho. Because that's another film that I've never seen all the way through. It's crazy. But there are some classic films that I have not seen all the way through. So let's go ahead and see. Am I right? Am I going to finally get one right? Let's see. I'm seeing something. And it is. I was right on the money, guys. It is Psycho. We're going to visit Norman Bates and his mother in the film Psycho from 1960, directed by one Alfred Hitchcock. So that is the next one on the docket for the month of October and the horror movie scratch offs. Guys, like, subscribe, and comment if you get the chance. I'll catch you in another episode. Take care.